growth can be really difficult for advisors, but scaling your business, that has its own set of challenges. Joined today by Matt Matrisian to discuss just that. Matt, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us here in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you for having me.
Well, when it comes to growth, when a firm's trying to build for that next major stage of growth, what's kind of the first thing that they need to be thinking about in order to grow and scale correctly?
There's a few things that people kind of go to.
Yes.
And I think that leadership mindset kind of is probably the primary thing that comes to mind. Some people look at like operations and processes and other things. But at the end of the day, the leadership mindset, so that owner thinking beyond how they got themselves to where they are today, and thinking about how do I actually build this as a true enterprise on a go-forward basis, shifting that mindset from entrepreneurial owner to actually enterprise strategy person, that's probably the biggest shift that I think firms need to do or owners need to do in order to take them to the next level. From there, everything cascades.
Yes.
So whether it's your strategy, whether it's building operational processes for scale, all of those things kind of are driven off of that ownership or that leader's kind of mindset and being kind of more of an enterprise-focused firm.
So now, as they develop that mindset and they're thinking about scaling, how do they build that kind of infrastructure foundation that they need in order to really scale correctly?
Yeah, so there's this kind of healthy tension that goes on between, how do you build infrastructure, but then at the same time be able to be fast as an organization. And I think what firms need to do is think about how do I build infrastructure and process in the back office, but allow the front offices to be nimble, fast, and quick. So what do I mean by that? So think about things like scaling your data, scaling your compliance, scaling the way that you support the client experience from a home office level. So maybe it's around centralizing your financial planning capabilities, centralizing your advanced planning capability, centralizing other services like tax services or other things that advisors can plug into to be able to make them more efficient and engaging for the way that they work with clients. If you can create that balance, and it is a healthy tension, there is a balance, because if you over-engineer and you build out too many processes, you're going to kill the entrepreneurial spirit of the firm and of your individual advisors. That being said, if you don't have any structure in place, you're probably not going to maximize the enterprise value that you have. So it is a healthy tension and a balance that you have to achieve, and achieving the right balance, I think, helps a lot of firms.
So as they think about scaling, they think about moving up to that next level, 1 billion, 5 billion, 10 billion, sometimes fear holds you back. What are some of the decisions that advisors put off that ultimately delay them from getting to that next chapter?
Yeah, so there's a couple of them that come to mind. Depending on the strategy of the firm, I think their ability to be able to have access to capital, to be able to help them grow exponentially or build infrastructure, build out their capabilities internally, invest in the organization. Putting off that decision is a big one. Building out your leadership team, that's a huge one. I find a lot of founders, whether they're 2 billion, 1 billion, 5 billion, they don't build the right kind of executive team. It's all them, chief cook and bottle washer, to be able to kind of run the business. And so making sure that you're hiring the right talent to be able to help the organization continue to be successful. And the other one I would point to is ownership structure. So if you're continuing to grow as an organization, and you're thinking about how do I provide equity ownership to the advisors in my firm, other leaders in the organization, I would argue that it's much easier to do that at 1 billion than it is at 10 billion. And so thinking about that and thinking that through early on, and having a deliberate strategy around it is really important.
Being deliberate, having that mindset, that getting the leadership right first, such great lessons. Now, if I'm an advisor watching this and I want to scale correctly, what's one lesson, what's one place maybe that you advise for them to really be thinking about so they can move to that next chapter here?
I kind of touched on it already, and that really is shifting your mindset from kind of an entrepreneur, individual, practitioner, advisor to say, how do I actually build this out as an enterprise? What does this look like in 3 to 5 years? And this is, foundationally I would tell you that if you're a $500 million RIA, significant size RIA, you could start building that enterprise mindset and start putting the pieces in place to be much more process-driven and enterprise-oriented. So the $5 billion mark, you're not having to unravel things.
Yes.
So sooner than later, they should be building kind of that enterprise vision of what they want this firm to look like, and then to be able to put a strategy in place and execute on it. The earlier you can do that, the better you're going to be in the long run.
Brilliant, change your mindset, such great advice. Matt, thanks so much for joining today, great insights.
Yeah, thank you so much, it was a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
For Wealth Management, I'm Matt Ackerman.